The original Enterprise bridge. This is how it used to look. Flat colours, panels, blinking lights, and a static camera. This is how the Enterprise looks today. Screens that wrap the walls with moving graphics, data flowing in real time. Every surface reacts. Consoles are glowing, glass reflects. This isn't a static set anymore, it's a working command center. Built for motion, built for detail. It feels less like a stage and more like a place where people really work. Hello and welcome. We are talking TV set evolution. Now this video isn't specifically about Star Trek, but I'm going to use it a lot for the examples in this episode. But before I get going, please subscribe to the channel. This is fairly new. Every subscription really helps. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to me. That being said, let's get on with the episode. By the end of this video, I'll show you how television got here and why it's forcing cinema to change. There's a certain look old television has. Flat walls, the soft focus, and painted shadows everywhere that were meant to fool you. And yet, we believed it anyway. Because television didn't need to feel real, it needed to feel familiar.
Everyone on this boat is dead, Governor. Everyone except you and me. Everyone. Who are you?
Early television sets were built around one unavoidable truth. The camera didn't move. Early TV cameras were massive, heavy machines and they were tethered by very thick, heavy cables. So moving them around a set was practically impossible. So sets adapted. Rooms were shallow, walls were wide and open. Corners were avoided. Depth was limited. Not because designers lacked ambition, but because the cameras simply couldn't go there. Sets felt theatrical. Movement happened inside the frame and the camera observed the set instead of exploring it.
The entire facilities of the FBI and every other federal agency are being brought to bear. He pointed out, however, that this is no ordinary manhunt. He warned, we may be up against powers that are beyond our control.
Buck Rogers, now adventuring in the amazing world of the 20th century. By turning a little dial to project us ahead in time, we're able to be right with Buck and his friends in the wonderful world.
And because early TVs were small, and they were low resolution, and they were often on the other side of the room, details didn't survive the broadcast.
And these are the people who make the dreams. The actors, directors, technicians, makeup, wardrobe, and special effects artists. The bat lights, bat camera, and bat action. Bat cast and bat crew are about
Textures disappeared, shadows were flattened, and imperfections vanished. So designers leaned into bold shapes, smooth surfaces, and repetition.
through a rehearsal of the action.
The Enterprise sets were iconic. They were modular and efficient. Rooms were redressed and relit to appear new. They had to be stored easily. So if you look closely, you'll notice something else. The same rock formations appear again and again. The same plaster boulders, the same jagged silhouettes. These are used in multiple episodes to suggest entirely different alien worlds.
Move on, Captain.
And this isn't because production was just lazy or careless, but because reuse was essential. These rocks weren't just scenery, they were tools.
Readings indicate a life form in the vicinity, apparently human. Yet ship sensors indicated this planet was uninhabited.
Let's get that right down.
There was no geographical reference, there was no specific rock type. It just had to represent a rock under flat lighting. Low resolution meant fine texture blurred together, surface detail went unnoticed, and realistic weathering was a wasted effort. The introduction of polystyrene changed everything about how sets were built. For the first time, set builders could work quickly and precisely. Polystyrene could be cut, carved, shaped and layered with real control, not just into vague forms but with surfaces with intention. Rock was no longer just a shape, it became a surface with logic. You could study real geology, the fractures in granite, the soft erosion of sandstone, and recreate them deliberately. But it didn't just stop at rock. With polystyrene you can carve almost anything. Trees with twisted bark, ice formations with sharp structured edges, architectural details, columns, arches, futuristic structures. What once took days could be achieved in hours, and just as importantly, it was light. Large pieces could be lifted, moved and worked quickly. Sets became faster to adjust, safer for performers and easier to modify on the day. Polystyrene didn't just speed things up, but it changed expectations. Sets moved away from suggestion and towards replication, and you could do it pretty fast. But it didn't just stop with polystyrene. Now we can take molds of actual existing cliffs and geological shapes. Expanding foam would be sprayed into those molds, capturing every crack, fracture and erosion line. And this result was incredibly realistic, lightweight, and it was easy to produce. So we use this technique a lot on Prometheus. Now the engineer head I carved with Roy, that whole set was basically sprayed in mold foam. As cameras became smaller and images became sharper, TV had to evolve. Streaming budgets allowed now for more preparation, fewer reused sets, film level craftsmanship. For example, I worked on season 2 of The Witcher, and everyone I worked with has a background in movie making. So sets stopped being backdrops, they started becoming environments. If you really want to see how television and set design has evolved, there's no better place to look than the bridge of the Enterprise. So the 1960 Star Trek bridge is obviously instantly recognisable. The flat colours, the primary reds, blues and yellows. These are painted panels with blinking lights. The consoles weren't screens, they were graphics, and they were designed to be read in low resolution televisions.
Position 8 minutes from outpost 4 at this velocity.
It was iconic and it was symbolic of the time. The bridge was built for static cameras, wide sight lines and even lighting, and it wasn't meant to feel like a real control room. It was really a representation of one. The next generation bridge feels more transitional. Softer lighting replaces that harsh brightness, and curved architecture replaces those flat panels. You got carpeted floors, natural tones. The warm material suggests comfort as much as control. But the screens are real but restrained. Data is present but not overwhelming, and the technology hums quietly in the background instead of demanding attention. It feels less theatrical than a 1960s bridge for sure, but not yet hyper-technical. A space designed to feel calm, functional and lived in. A future designed through the lens of the late 1980s. So let's have a look at the Enterprise bridge in 2026. The bridge feels operational. Every console is a real screen. They have animated interfaces that glow and reflect light. Neon accents, practical LEDs and layered lighting everywhere. It feels less like a stage and it feels more like a modern nightclub or a high-end command center. The modern cameras now don't just observe the bridge, but they move through it. And that means textures matter, materials matter, and flat surfaces don't survive the scrutiny. The set has to work from every angle. First of all, both of them are now on equal standing when it comes to quality. So what makes or breaks a TV show? It's bad writing. If you haven't got a compelling script, compelling story, with good characters, not pushing any kind of message, your show will succeed. The line between television and cinema isn't just a visual one, it's a contextual one.